Okay, so what we need to do today for day 4, until now we've been doing this, so installation and configuration of SQL and the form, and we have 2 servers redundantly available here. So and we did the language pack as well. We didn't need to do ServiceApp because we downloaded the latest one. Okay, so what we need to do today is yeah, it's clear. Okay, so let's configure and learn all the features of SharePoint. What's manage account, service applications, site settings, site permissions, SharePoint management shell, creating a web application, manage paths. Well, for now they don't look English, but when we're going to do it, we're going to be understanding each and everything, and it's going to play a very crucial role in the creation of a basic working environment where thousands of users, or for now hundreds of users, can connect and collaborate. So we're going to try to make it till the end because it's all step-by-step hands-on lab. So for this we need to be logged into any one of our SharePoint servers in the form, and so when we create a SharePoint site collection, there's a site in IIS also. Anyone knows what is IIS? So this word here, or Internet Information Services. Anyone knows that? Microsoft? Okay, and if I can show you here, it is if I go to Start, Administrative Tools, this is the IIS Manager. The basic purpose is to this is for developers actually, and developers can actually create, test their web applications on this server. So it's already available in every Windows OS, so server OS. So here the SharePoint really makes use of this IIS. If I create a new site, it's going to be actually creating here, but this is not as user friendly as SharePoint itself. So it's going to be very easy to create complicated sites and subsites in SharePoint, but in turn SharePoint will be creating all those sites here in IIS, or Internet Information Services. So let me just double check. Yep, it's recording and going fine. So let's go to the SharePoint. So I'm on the central administration site right now. This was created when we installed this SharePoint environment, the form, and everyone on this side? Yes, thank you for the reply. Oh, just trying to make the environment less dry. Okay, so there are huge amount of stuff here, but we're going to go step by step and try to create our site for intranet site for George Brown, and that's going to be if you have a scenario, it's going to be easy to understand all the features that we want to make available for all the students, faculty, and employees, the staff of George Brown. So first of all, let's start with some of the important security things, security features, the accounts related that we need to still have an eye on when we are starting to think about creating a website or site collection for all the students, hundreds of students or thousands of students in the college. So one of the main security features is that managed service account. The purpose is that when we are trying to create a service or trying to offer SharePoint to others, every service in the SharePoint requires an an Active Directory account whose password should be automatically managed. So you guys are also doing Exchange Server, right? Or not? Are you doing Exchange? Okay. All of you? Or well, those who are present actually. Some of you, right? So Exchange Server also uses service accounts. The thing is that if you disable this service account, you could just take down the whole, or part of the SharePoint management environment. So service accounts are very useful. Managed service account is just going to help run the SharePoint services, but also it maintains its own password change. The main threat that comes to the service accounts is that if we go down to this, let me show you here in the SharePoint. If I go to security here, and you're able to see that? Oh, you know what? Well, a little better. So there is that, in general security, there is that configure managed accounts. And so if I go to security and then go to, so this is on the left side. Everyone is able to see this first page? Anyone is not able to open this? Okay, let me close that and go back again. If you're on the SharePoint server, if you go to start and go to administrative tools, now go to all programs and go to SharePoint 2010 products, and then everyone sees that? SharePoint 2010 Central Administration. Okay, yep. Did you try that one? Okay, anyone else having a problem with yeah, try. Because we have two servers, try on both. Anyone else who struggling to open? So if I open the magnifying glass, actually, just to, okay, so here start and all programs, and then SharePoint 2010 products, and then there is that SharePoint 2010 Central Administration. If you click this, anyone who is not able to open, yeah, you're logging in now, right? On the first one as well? Yeah, you have two servers, right? For SharePoint. Now, were you able to install the second server in the form? Or if not, then the only server that we have, you could just try that. Anyone else who is not able to open the SharePoint Central Administration site? You're not able to? Yeah, try both servers. You were able to open them? Cool. You were? Cool. Okay, cool. So you're also, even if you have one server for now, it should still open. Yeah? If you don't have, you also open? Cool. Yes? No? Okay. No? What happened? Does anyone else during the week touches these machines, or no possibility, right? So let me go and pause now. So if you're having problem opening this, we can also go to the administrative tools just for troubleshooting. That's how we do in the production environment as well. And go to services, and then just click startup here. That's just one of the basic troubleshootings we do always, and see if against automatic, what is the status. Whatever is automatic, whichever service is automatic, should be on started status. So if I keep going down, yeah, all of them are started. Especially I would be concentrating on SharePoint services and whatever dependencies it has. But this is one of the starting points as well for any other application, even for Exchange, for any other application that you install. If somehow it's not working, you can go and check the services. Okay, so let me know if anyone else is having any issue with the environment. So let's go ahead. There's a lot to cover. So I'm on Central Administration site right now, and there's the application management and all the things. So we can have some a basic intro of this. Central Administration just shows the whole configuration of the form itself, and you have to be, of course, the administrator of SharePoint to access this service, this site. So then there is application management, which then has everything related with web applications, site collections, service applications, databases. We're going to be touching today all of these and trying to understand more what is it anyway. So web application, if I want to show the hierarchy of what is what, so I'm just going to go for minimizing this, and then I'll just go through the slide first just to give you a little idea about, so understanding Active Directory and service accounts. We're going to be visiting the service accounts, but Active Directory provides identity and authentication services that usually use usernames and passwords. So that's why we should be very careful about service accounts. SharePoint 2010 requires dedicated Active Directory user accounts. We did not create those dedicated user accounts, but I'm going to send you the document with best practices to create dedicated Active Directory service accounts. So separate Active Directory account for SQL Server, SharePoint setup, separate account, server form, separate account. We just used the domain administrator account for everything because already I wanted to make it simple now. Then later we can make it actually more complicated once we are really confident about this. But service accounts are necessary, and there will be places coming now where it would be asking, hey, do you have a separate managed account? And we're gonna still continue with domain administrator account just to keep things simple. And later when we are reinstalling the environment, or if you try it yourself, you could go for the best practices of having separate Active Directory accounts for separate services. Okay, so managed accounts and service accounts. So the main difference is that managed accounts take care of their passwords themselves automatically. That's the beauty of managed accounts. If you create a service account for SQL Server, and suppose its password expires after 45 days, your SQL Server service stops. When SQL Server service stops, you know what else will stop? The SharePoint service. That's depending on that. That will stop. And then thousands of users or hundreds of users connected to your SharePoint will be calling you and your boss and your boss's boss, because most probably our higher management, you are hired as a system administrator earning 45 or 50 per hour, and your higher management is actually connected to your SharePoint environment. So you will be in big trouble if your service accounts are not properly managed, and if you're not using separately a managed service account which takes care of password changes automatically. So this is very crucial. That's why first we're talking about this, but I'm just going to later show you that area where you should be putting a separate managed service account. But the main use is that it takes care of its own, and this is the area actually: security, general security, configure managed accounts, and then it shows there. So since we're talking about that, so if I go back to the environment now, so if you're on a central administration, and if I open application management, so instead of application management, security, and then configure managed accounts. So let me just put it on magnifying glass. So yeah, there it is, security, configure managed accounts. So it's just in the line there, security, configure managed accounts, and then we only have our domain administrator added here, and that's the only account we are using. If I click edit here, then it will be showing all the security related options for change password now. That's the main thing, that we cannot keep on changing password. Like if you want to change now, then later on of course it's going to maintain it automatically, because it's a managed service account. Automatic password change, enable automatic password change. If we enable that 2 days before expiry, it is supposed to do that. Basically it's not configured properly here by default. So when we come to the editing features, when we go and edit the features of the managed service account, then we can actually enable automatic password change. And if password expiry policy is detected, change password, start notifying by email. So if you're maintaining a SharePoint server, or you're going to install a SharePoint server, this is one of those initial things and important things that you should be really paying attention to, because if this service account is not automatically changing the password, then it's going to be a big problem for you. So this is for if you are dedicating an account for this, and the password change policy does not affect that account. So then there is account information, password update information, form components using this account. So right now every service in our SharePoint form is going to be running on the basis of this account administrator. That's why an administrator is a king of the jungle, right? Okay. By jungle I mean what? The domain, the whole domain. Administrator account is privileged to do anything. Superman, right? So administrator is not only supposed to be the main account for SharePoint, it is also doing hundreds of other things. So that's why they're saying don't put managed account and domain administrator as a managed account when you're going for your professional environment. Always just create another account called SP or SharePoint SP managed account, or SP form account, SP SQL account, and then put that account there, right? So first thing is this, I did not create 3 or 4 or 5 accounts, because it's going to be confusing to you as well, but I'm going to send you the document that will tell you which accounts to create and where to put them, with screenshots as well, so it will be very easy for you to follow later. So right now I'm just going to cancel out from here. Just wanted you to know that this is something that you should. So take a screenshot of this as well when you're sending a screenshot, that at least we visited this area and we know what to do, or what's the significance of this area, right? Okay, so if I go and minimize this and go back to the slide, we are talking about managed account. So we talked about it, about its importance. If I go ahead, then first we talked about managed accounts, that they are responsible for running all the crucial services of SharePoint. Then there are service applications, another major concept, where in SharePoint 2010, service applications are used to facilitate sharing resources across sites running in different web applications. So the main, a one-liner would be, there will be extra applications or extra services that you can run with SharePoint. Can anyone guess what kind of extra applications, which are not SharePoint itself or not built into SharePoint, what are extra applications we can run with SharePoint? Very easy example would be, what are the extra applications or applications outside SharePoint that we can embed or connect with SharePoint and run together with SharePoint? Yes, you're right. Anyone else? No, nobody talked. Okay, just kidding. So MS Office or InfoPath, forms. There are business intelligence applications in banks, where there are thousands and thousands and thousands of users. Your SharePoint is the main collaboration tool, one of the main collaboration tools, and with their banking applications, insurance companies, in hospitals, any big organization is always using, if they have Windows environment, they have SharePoint, because they can run their Excel, Microsoft Excel or Microsoft Access with this, as service applications. So there's a long list of service applications that we can use alongside with the SharePoint, and so we're going to be using we're going to try to connect some of the outer applications with the SharePoint as well. The main thing is, if you were an administrator of older SharePoint or SharePoint 2007, or if you join a job now and you're being paid good, and you see, oh, there is SharePoint 2007 there. Oh, I am expert in 2010, but anyway. So service applications there were, a big hurdle in the performance. So right now we don't even know how to use service applications, right? So the overall idea would be that there is an improvement from 2007 to 2010, that service applications run independently instead of utilizing all the memory and processing. For now, we need to just understand that service applications help us use outside applications and services to connect with SharePoint and run. So SharePoint can not only use its own built-in features, but SharePoint can also use outside applications and their features as well to make your business go ahead productively. So this is the one liner we need to know, but later we're going to be going in depth with service applications, and we're going to try some. This is the overview. In 2007, it had some limitations, and Excel services, search services were all combined together. Now service applications allow for greater flexibility, and if you know French, it's a la carte. I don't know actually. So some service applications can be shared between SharePoint forms. So the main thing is, outside applications, non-SharePoint applications can be connected to SharePoint applications. That's the one-liner we should know for now. Then we're going to later try to do some experimentation on that. If you want to visit, where is that area? So it's in Central Administration, in Application Management, and then Manage Service Applications. So if I want to go there to the SharePoint environment and go to Central Administration, Application Management, and Manage Service Applications. So if I put it to, okay, so there's that Manage Service Applications. If we go and click that, there are many types of services that we can connect. Some are installed, but just like this Excel services application, we can, if we are working a lot, our employees are working a lot on Excel sheets and putting those formulas there, then this data, huge amount of data, can be also used by SharePoint. And then there are managed metadata services, performance point service application. There are many other services that can be that we can use with SharePoint. So Visio, anyone knows what's Visio? VISIO, Visio. Anyone ever use Visio? It's for? Okay, so it's for graphics. You want to create maps, not exact AutoCAD maps, but let me show you. I think Visio, there's that Visio 2013. It comes with MS Office, and it has all those diagrams. So you can just put in, go ahead and you can add all the computer drawings and designs here, and this is connecting to that, and create a drawing. So we can include the features of this, or combine the features of this, or SharePoint can actually connect to Visio services and use its features, or offer its features to the SharePoint users as well. This is just one of the examples. Excel features can be used. Excel can be connected to SharePoint, and SharePoint can use that or embed it into SharePoint server services that it's offering. So there are many other Microsoft Word, Visio, and user health data collection. Then all the performance related stuff, and search services. If you want to search across the SharePoint, maybe there are thousands of documents already added there, so you can actually make a effective search to go for what you're looking for. Okay, so this is still what we talked about is managed accounts. We talked about service applications, but we still need to create and go into the web applications, the site collections, and just get to create one site that actually makes sense to us, that okay, this is SharePoint and how it works. Okay, let's go ahead. These are some of the separate things, or independent of the actual plan of ours today to create a site and configure it. So I'm just going for some important areas of SharePoint, like managed accounts and service applications. Now let's go ahead and try to see some more other stuff. This is just some more screenshots showing that application management. If you go there and go to service applications, you can actually manage service applications. Later we're going to be doing that. Today we're going to be playing with web applications and site collections and databases, and trying to make sense of what are these things. So yeah, these are the service applications. We just need to know the importance of that. Okay, let's go ahead and farm. So a collection of servers is farm. We just created that, right? So you can have all the web application database and index. So medium-sized businesses usually start with at least 2 web front ends and a database server. WFEs are where the users connect and the users information is sent to the database. So that's how it looks like. Users, NLB, network load balancer, web front end, and database. That's how the users collaborate, or users data is actually going through the servers to the database, and then they want to retrieve anything. That's how they retrieve. But still, it's just design. This is the main thing that we're going to be working on. Web applications are levels of the SharePoint hierarchy. When you hear someone talking about scope, this is what they mean. So on top there is a web application. Under the web application we create site collections. Under the site collection we create top level site, and then we go for sites. But this is like okay, I mean, what is web application? Still, I mean, it's on the top. We get to know the hierarchy. We're going to be creating a web application called intranet, or George Brown intranet, and then we're going to be creating that, and we're going to go to the wizard of web application. Then we're going to go for the site collections. We're going to try to talk about it first. Why are we doing that? And then top level site. Then you can go for your sites itself. It's not that complicated when we start doing it, but we still need to understand the big picture here. That the top one, we have to first always create a web application, and then under the web application we have to create site collection. Anyone can tell me what's the difference between site collection and sites? Come on, that's an easy one. Yeah.
Just like a sub version of a site, like different. It belongs to one page, but it has like different
group of
pages, or like it has a download page.
Yeah,
or it has more
exactly.
contact information. One.
Cool. So site collection has to be created in a web application. So what's the difference between web application and site collection? Well, there's a spelling difference. What else? Web application is, and the site is, anyone? Well, of course we're going to be trying to know that now. But remember the hierarchy. We're going to be first creating a web application. We're going to be talking about that too. Then we're going to create a site collection. and we're going to know where what exists and how to configure that. Okay, let's go ahead and know a little more first. So web application, an IaaS website that has been configured to run SharePoint, Internet Information Services, or IIS, which is a favorite tool of web developers who are developing web applications, and they need to test those web applications in some installed server. IIS is that installed server where web developers create those web applications and earn thousands of dollars at home. If you're a programmer, wow. I mean, now there are millions of programmers also, but if you're a sharp programmer, you have a very good future. Especially if you're a programmer plus a system administrator. They are in huge demand right nowadays. So you have programming background, especially you're good in PowerShell, plus you're good in Microsoft applications like the Windows infrastructure, like MCSA certification, the 3 exams for that, MS Exchange, SCCM, System Center Configuration Manager. If these MCSA 3 exams, SCCM and Exchange with PowerShell, but if you also have VMware and Citrix, now that's a combination that you will get a job real soon. So PowerShell you're learning, that's very, very good. That's very, genius idea that first go for PowerShell, then go for anything else, because any Microsoft product is now totally based on PowerShell. So you're already a very good track there when you started PowerShell, and then you're learning all the Microsoft products. So many people are actually being kicked out of the jobs because they don't know PowerShell. And so many people are kicking others out. So colleagues who know PowerShell are automating the tasks of those guys who were doing it click, 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 click every day. So they created a script. Okay, done, out. So second guy, click, 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 click. Okay, your all tasks for the day. I have created 2 or 3 scripts. Now we can do it automatically. So out, second. So it's that much dangerous, PowerShell. And it's that much in demand as well. So yeah, try not to kick out your friends from job. But if you're good in PowerShell, you're great in demand, and you're an equal threat to your employees, other employees who don't know PowerShell. So it's that big difference. Automation is the main thing nowadays. Okay, so an IIS website that has been configured to run SharePoint web application can only be created in the central administration graphical interface, or via this command called STS-ADM. So you can only create the web application in the central administration, which we will create now. A firm has one running the central administration site. So we already have created, or when we were installing SharePoint, we already have created one web application that is running this central administration site, because we need it to configure other stuff, and one to many others running normal SharePoint site. So we will be creating another web application, and this will have SiteCollection, and that SiteCollection will have 3 sites. We're going to be creating 3 sites. We're going to be creating 3 databases as well. We're going to try to understand why we are doing that. But web application mainly is a website created in Internet Information Services, and it runs the whole show. So if you're installing web application, you can actually create a huge maze of sites, lots of websites. So we're going to try to do that today by creating 3 or 4 websites, subsites of the SiteCollection, actually, in order to really know how much we can scale, expand, and do the basic work. Okay, so this is generally how the main part of the URL is defined. Like HTTP is somesite.yourcompany.com, and HTTP /othersite.yourcompany.com will be separate web application. You can have one web application with the somesite.yourcompany. We're going to create now, and another. So you could have two separate web applications. They are opening independently with their own URL, like CNN.com, and then there is BBC.com or .co.uk. But we're not talking about web right now or internet. We're going to be trying to do that in intranet today. But we can create independent websites under which there will be subsites, site collections, and subsites. We're going to try to make it look more interesting. But we can have separate web applications, one for each department. Suppose you have one for finance department web application, then all subsites are for finance related software announcements and projects going on. Then there will be another for management department, or you can have a campus-wide, so Casaloma site web application. Then you have another campus somewhere else. You can go for that and create another web application. So it can be independently and separately, configured. So let's go ahead. Site collection. So first we talked about web application, that it is an IaaS website. Then there is that site collection also. Under the web application comes the site collection, right? So each web application has at least one site collection. So when we create our web application, we're going to be we have to have one site collection. So we're going to create now one site collection, but we can have many. Also, each site collection has exactly one top level site. When you create a site collection, and we're going to do that, and that's how you're going to see, oh, that's how it looks like in theory. Okay, I will have first one web application, then I will have a site collection, and each site collection must have one top level site. Then the site collection doesn't actually contain anything itself. Site collection is just you're managing a lot of sites. That's what site collection is all about, right? So it does not contain anything itself. That is down to the top level site. So the top level site under the site collection umbrella, the top level site will be the one you're going to be configuring and putting your pictures and putting department pictures or company pictures or announcements and everything. So there's site collection, there's top level site. This is the level that things like the recycle bin and quotas are organized. So site collection level is where you do some management of all the future sites you're going to be creating. You may have a department-wise site, and there are 17 departments, different departments there. Because of all the courses and programs you're running, one site collection will be handling some top level management for all the sites. So this is the level where you can do recycle bin and quotas. So we're going to talk about quotas as well. Each site collection can only use a single content database. So now it gets a little more complicated. You install a web application, you have to have a site collection after that. And okay, you created a site for the George Brown Casaloma campus. Now, do you know how many students are here? Like any guess? Wild guess?
On this campus?
On this campus, 5,000, 10,000, 1,000, 4,000. That's a lot of them. And if you create one web application, Casaloma, under that a site collection will be created. And under the site collection, now there are so many programs running here. So maybe each program needs one site. So your database, you will have to install a database big enough, because if 4,000, 5,000 students are opening their accounts, this means they are going to be collaborating by uploading their documents, Excel, Access, PowerPoint, and all kinds of documents. This means your database will be filling up fast. This means by design, you have to have high-end servers and databases for each site separately. So what are the programs here? Like there's computer side program. Then there's those instruction management second program. Any third program? Those suing programs. So
There's a few, there's even 2 other campuses.
okay. So even here, when we pass around, there's for Cisco there is separate. There's Voice Lab there. So suppose there's huge amount of data input from all those programs. We could decide that there's Cisco site should have its own separate database. So we could add all the data to that database, or there could be just one database taking input of all 4,000 students, and it's just increasing and growing. So we're going to be creating 3 databases today as well, but we have to know how, and we're going to be using PowerShell for that. I'm talking about the design that if you're really going for, you already know that it's 4,000 students and it could increase as well. So you would be thinking big already, right? So one web application, the campus, site collections, that's management of sites. Then each site for each program, either you can connect all the sites to one database, or you can connect the sites to different databases. 2 programs to one database, 3 programs, one database. Okay, we're going to be doing that too. So this is just to give you a bigger picture of how we can think of the design if we are talking 4,000 students. So each site collection can only use a single content database, though multiple site collections can use the same content database as well. This has major design implications, as there are maximum recommended sizes for a content database. But we can go for more than one when I'm going to show you later now. So I'm just talking about right now site collections, that when we get to that part, then we're going to be talking about this is the site collection picture here, and recycle bin, site collection features, site hierarchy, portal site connection, SharePoint designer settings, visual upgrade, help settings. So there are some site collection level management tasks here available, just so it should be in our mind. So top level site. So first web application, then site collection, now top level site. A top level site is a site at the top level. Okay, see, this terminology is not that confusing after all. Okay, so the very first site after you create a site collection, most of the time we can use top level site and site collection interchangeably. In fact, Microsoft do this all. Each top level site has 0 to many subsites. Okay, 0 to many subsites. This is the lowest level that many things can be scoped to. For example, only the top level site contains a web part gallery, so you can't say collection X, site A can have a web part, but collection X, site B can't. So main thing is that top level site, you can have all those items, galleries, and other features we're going to be adding soon. But the main thing is that this is the first site after site collection where we can actually make some changes, right? And then subsites you can keep on creating according to the capacity. When you look at site settings in a top level site, you will see the highlighted sections. In a subsite you will not. Both are called sites. Okay, let's just get down to the last one. Site is known as a web. These are the actual sites that you use. Yes, a site can be a top level site or a subsite. A site can also have other sites. Okay, let's just skip that. A site can inherit its parents' permissions or define its own. Yeah, subsites can also have other subsites. Okay, nothing. So this is a site we saw when we when we installed the form. This is the first site that opened, right? I hope everyone remembers that. Let's go to our site. Yay. Okay, so this is what is already created. So manage web applications. If I go to that, so let's go to our form setting. I'm in central administration again, and now if I go to manage web applications, so again, if I am in central administration, here under the application management, either I can go from here as well, so only application management related the stuff will be here. So then manage web applications will just show me the two webs applications that I already have. So there is this SharePoint Central Administration that was created by the SharePoint installation, the form installation itself. Then there is that first site we created with the wizard. Anyone is seeing this SharePoint intranet? Anyone seeing this SharePoint intranet in the central administration? Yes? No? Maybe? No? Why not? But why not? Yeah, exactly. Well, I just wanted your attention. I mean, you are attending, I know, but you know, sometimes, hey, I'm here, this corner. Okay, but yeah, definitely everyone's paying attention, or whoever's here. Okay, so this is what we are intending to do. Yes, I did create the whole thing just to check if my environment even works or not. So, but we're going to be creating a GB internet or George Brown intranet, not internet, but intranet. So for that, we're going to be, starting with the installation. Let me go back to the slide here. So you can see that when we create a site, there's a URL that is shown here, right? So when we create our new site, of course there will be a URL showing there, and that URL, when we put it in our browser, if we are connected to the domain, or if we are connected by IP to that domain, this URL, if we put there, it's going to let us open the site. So this is the URL that I was showing there. So shpt mem02. So if I go back, this is the URL, it was there. When we put that URL here in the browser, the site opens, right? Okay, and yeah, in our case, in everyone's case, it's server 02, I guess. If your server name is that, it's opening it with that name. But we're going to put it as separate name to open it. Then everyone, do you have this website open right now? So if you're on this page, let's just put it in the browser, whatever URL you're seeing here on the right side. Let's put it in the browser and open this site. So if I go to that browser and I don't have a second website open, so I'm going to just go for this URL here in my form, in my case, in your case, I think it's server 02, right? Or server 03. In my case, it is shpt mem02. So shpt, although it's appearing there already, mem02. HTTP is already there, so enter. And did it open a second site for you? Anyone? Did you try that? Is it opening the second site?
Yeah.
Okay, it's opening fine for you. Anyone else trying? So is it opening fine for everyone? You're trying, right? And it's opening because it takes time a little, yeah. Already. Okay, cool. Anyone else? It's opening fine? Okay, cool. Is it opening fine for you? Okay, you're trying? Cool. Okay, so if this is opening fine, anyone having issue, let me know, right? So we can go ahead, and if we click this page button here, tab here on the top page, then we see all the options here that we can do. So email a link. If you have a messaging environment available and you want to email this link here, whatever is the link there, then it should be first picking up that it's going to try to look for the Outlook if it is installed, and then it's going to open that send window just to send the link. But we don't have that, so it's going to so do you see the George Brown students written there? Okay. You know why? Because I already messed with that. So but how did I mess with that? Because we have the site collection privileges right now. We are the site collection owners. On site collection, we are the domain administrators, so we can do anything, right? So let's go to the left side and edit. This is the edit button here on the left side, and there is the edit here. So this page basically can be edited, and you can just try to put that George Brown students. I can just add intranet site if you want, but just to know that, okay, we can edit that, and I can just change that picture, make it smaller, and all other. So from this, and then I can just save and close here. So all the other things we can even put a new picture here as well. So there are libraries on the left side, site pages, shared documents, but for now, first thing is if you go to page and then go for edit, we can make all the changes here. Let's go to the next thing here. Everyone, it's clear, right? It's easy thing, right? So let's go ahead and try to make our own environment as well, but let's see what else is. So first of all, the URL, then the page, then we go for edit here for the page, and we can just make any changes to this page which we have in this site. Now let's try to touch some other things for that particular site by going to the left side called Site Actions. So if we go down, so I'm just gonna go down now to the Site Actions by going back to the form. So there is that Site Actions on the left side, and there is Site Settings here. So there's edit page, of course, new page, new document library, new site we can create. Why all the options are coming to us? Because we're logged into the domain admin, and this account also has full rights to all the SharePoint environment. So let's go to site settings. If we go to the site settings in the site actions, there's a lot of things we can do to on this page, on this site, in terms of galleries, lists. When we go to list or libraries, there's a long list of things that we can add to this page. Site actions are there. Even look and feel, we can change title, description, quick launch, top link bar, tree view, site theme. But you can see that site administration is showing here, and then site collection administration, because you're having the highest privileges to this site. That's why site collection administration is showing to you. So here I wanted to show you that if you don't have a privilege and we go to the same area, what are we going to lack at once? So for that, I want you to let's create two users in Active Directory. So I'm just going back to while staying here, I'm going back to my server 1, which is our domain controller. And if I go to Start, Administrative Tools in server 1, and go to Active Directory Users and Computers, what we are trying to do here, we're going to create two users here. So this Active Directory Users and Computers is open there. We can go to the users folder here, and I'm just going to create users. Let me just delete So I'm just gonna create users called GB user 01 and GB user 02, or George Brown user 01, 02. So right click users folder, new, and go to user. I think you already know how to create a user, but anyway, when you go to right click users, click new, and go to user, we're talking about then GB user 01. Alright. What? Oh, okay. So GB user 01, just select all, right click, copy, and put it in the logon name as well. Let me know if I'm going fast so I can go faster. No, okay, or slower. So let me know. Although till now I'm not doing anything complicated, but we have to see the complicated stuff as well. So GB user 01, next, and the class password is, ABC, small ABC, capital ABC, shift 1 to 3, and uncheck this user must change password at next logon. Next, finish. So first user is created. Everyone is able to do that? Alright. So if I right click again to the same users folder and create new and go to user, I'm just going to repeat the whole exercise, but it's going to be user 2, that's all. GB user 02, and press tab, press tab, press tab, so it selects that. Control C, tab again, Control V. GB user 2. Okay, next, and the class password, press tab again, uncheck the user must change password and next logon. This is a good idea to be checked in the production environment, because you know the password. You as an administrator are not supposed to know the password, so that's why we put it on like this, checked in the production, but here we don't need it, so I'm just going to keep it unchecked. Okay, next, and finish. So I have created 2 users. I'll go up to the domain, right click, and refresh, just to refresh the settings, so it should sync in with the SharePoint as well. So right click the domain, refresh. Okay, 2 users created. I'm going to go back now to go back now to the server 02, where I was looking at all those privileged areas for doing all the changes on the highest level, the site collection level of web application. So I want to first check if those 2 users have any type of permissions. Are they even viewers? So where should I go back? So I'm going to go back to the left top and click Site Actions. I'm going to click again Site Actions and go to Site Permissions. So before we were here at Site Settings, this means site-wide we can do all kinds of settings because we have all the privileges to do anything we want. But I'm going to now go for Site Permissions here. If I go to Site Permissions on the left side, when you drop down to Site Actions, there's Site Permissions. The Site Permissions is all about, of course, permissions to the site. So there is that system account with which we are logged in right now. System account we are logged into right now, and then there's students, visitors, owners, and members, and viewers in the end as well, right? So we would want to add 1 user to a viewer and 1 user to a member. But if we want to check first who's part of the owner having the SharePoint group full control here, who's that? So if I go to click owners, click that, that's our account, domain administrator account. That's why we have full privileges to everything, right? So if I go back by pressing back button on the browser, now there are visitors with read permission, owners full control, of course, members can contribute, system account, user limited access, but viewers view only. So I'm just going to go to viewers. So there is that, under the viewers there's nothing right now, right? So if I click new and click add users here, new, and click add user. And so first user is GB user 01. We can click check name here, down here. It's going to check with Active Directory if that user even exists. So if I click here, yes, if it is underlined, this means it exists, right? So check name, click here, and if it's underlined, this means it's the correct spelling. Yes, it exists. So press OK. So first user has been added to the viewer group. The second user, I'm going to, on the left side, we can see all the groups already, right? We don't have to go back even. So there is the owners. We already are part of the owners. So I'm just gonna put it to members, the second user. First user added to the viewers. Second user I will just add to the members. And new. So once I'm inside the members group, I'm just going to click add users again, and there's my second user, GB user 02. If that's the correct spelling, please check name. I'll click that. Yes, it is underscored. This means it's the correct one. Press OK. So one user added to that viewer, and second you added to the members. So why don't I check it out as well? So how do I check it out? If I go to system account here, system account, and sign out, or sign in as a different user. So sign in as a different user, system account, and sign in as a different user. If I click that, so it's asking which other user you want to sign in from. Okay, GB user 1, which is a viewer. Okay, now I'm signed in as GB user 01, and when I go to site actions, that's the only thing I can see. View all site content in site actions. Otherwise it was a long list, right? So viewer is just viewing the basic content, not the administration level content. And if I go to, this is GB user 01, so but that's a viewer. Second, GB user 02. If I click GB 01 on the top right side, sign in as a different user again. Now I want to sign in from user 2 instead of 1. Okay, so use another account, GB user 02. And password. This is actually having it was added to the members group. So site actions, well, a little more. The users who are members of the member group or added to the members group can actually create a new page on the SharePoint and can see view all content. But viewers can only just view the very basic information, right? So I'm just gonna log in again from my administrator account and go ahead. So sign in again as a different user. So this is just showing us that what levels are there and how much information is available for whichever level we add the users to. So I'm just gonna again go for administrator, but administrator, and this is the domain administrator. Press OK, and then I go to site actions. Of course, I will have all the access to all the features here on SharePoint. Okay, so this was the site settings, which we just know that there are all site-wide changes we can make, and then there's site permissions where we can add the users. Let's go ahead a little and try to do some more settings. Okay, before that, these are the two users we're going to be adding as administrators as well later. So it's better to remove them, or we can add 2 more users later, right? Instead of, okay, let these users be added to members, and this, we're going to just create 2 more users later, GB user 0, 3, and 4 for some other task as an administrator. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead now. So far, okay, easy, right? Nothing. Okay, let's go for a bit difficult, tricky stuff now. So yes, these pictures, that's what we visited. These are all the options. We will be touching most of them by the end of the course. So let's add some aid users. Yeah, we did that. Okay, so then there is that management shell, and then we can just get to know some of the PowerShell commands for the form, so just to get some information as well. So if we go to, I have here as well on the second screen, so I'm just gonna go back to the PowerShell, and SharePoint has its own management shell which is showing here. So I'm just gonna go down to the server 2 here. If I go to start and all programs and SharePoint 2010 products, go to management shell here. So I'm just visiting all these areas just so we should know that, oh, okay, this is there, that is there. We can do this and that with this. So right now, I've just clicked that all programs 2010 and central administration. Okay, so since it is PowerShell, if I just do the basic command, let me put it on magnifying glass. Okay, the command I'm trying to give here is, before that, let me just double check. Yeah, numbers are moving, cool. Okay, the command is, so we want to know the information of the form from from PowerShell. So get -sp form. So, well, this is online, but this is not the full information about the form. It is just showing me, that database name which we had. But if we go for, because I don't use it every day, and you might not be also using every day, so that's why I've written it as well. But just so we could go through this and know that there is that select star. So get sp form pipe and then select star. That should get us a long list of all the settings. There you go. So there is all that information about the form that we can check quickly. All how many servers are there. There are 2 servers, and it's showing the names as well: services, service application, proxy, and time service. So, well, anything and everything about the form is showing here. Then there is another set of commands. What are the web applications we have? In my case, I have 3 web applications. In your case, you have 2 web applications. But how do we know that? So there is another command called get -sp web application. Well, get -sp's SharePoint, and then web and AP, and press tab to autocomplete. I think, yeah, it's going to autocomplete correctly. So get -sp web application. In my case, it should show me 3. In your case, it should be 2, right? Okay, third one, I think I deleted that or what? Oh, it's not showing all of them. Oh, yeah. So web application include the central administration site. Okay, I did create that intranet.sht. So you're showing, it's showing you 2 or 1?
1.
Exactly. So the next command will show that it's going to tell, hey, include that central administration site as well. Although it's understood that that web application is already there. Apart from that, I have created one more other than that one which we created during the installation of the form. So -include central administration site. So -include central. Exactly. It should catch from here. So -include central administration. Now it should show me 3 and you 2. Me 3, you 2. Wow. Okay. So now we go for our own web application, and it's going to be a bigger wizard, but it's going to be very, very interesting. After what we know now, a little about our form, we're going to create our George Brown intranet. So let me just put it there. So what does the PowerShell? Yeah, there's that SharePoint 2010 PowerShell cheat sheet as well, with lots of PowerShell commands to know information about, to make some changes through PowerShell. So I'm going to send this link, and I have to send all the previous PDFs as well. So let's go ahead. Okay, this logical structure of SharePoint looks like this, and we're going to be making it look as per the databases, at least like this. So one form already we have. Web application, we have 2 right now. 2 web applications are already there, right? We're going to create the 3rd one. In your case, you're creating the 3rd one. I'm creating the 4th one. So web application, then site collections will be there, and under every site collection there will be sites. Lots of sites will be created, and there's one database for maybe 2 site collections if we create within one application. One web application, and one database for this, one database for this. So it's just giving you a bigger picture. We're going to be visiting all these areas when we do create that web application and content database and site collection. But there is that other thing called application pool. Anyone knows what's an application pool? It's a pool for application. Thank you very much. So application pool is going to assign hardware resources to any web application that has been connected to an application pool. So how much memory, how much processing that is required by a web application. Maybe there are 2 web applications, you connect to one application pool. Or maybe there is just one web application where you created a Casaloma, intranet, and 4,000 users are connected there. It's a huge input of data you're facing. So you would want this intranet web application to be having its own single application pool. That can be configured later, but we just need to know that application pool means that it's going to reserve resources, hardware resources, for the better performance of this web application, all the site collections, and then if you create a lot of sites and sub-sites to that, and it all becomes a huge set of sites. So your database will be affected by that. The application pool will be responsible for making all the hardware resources available for that. So this is how it looks like. Let's go ahead with the okay, so what we are creating now will be a web application which will have site collections, then the top level site, and each site can the top level site can either be directly configured or it can have a sub-site. So we're going to be trying to do that now, and then we're going to look, but I'm just still giving you a bigger picture. Capacity planning wise, so if you're a system administrator earning 45 per hour, 50 per hour, hey, that really feels good, right? Okay, so if you're a system administrator earning good income, so you would be really going for the capacity planning, that how many databases should be there, how many application pools and site collections. This is just a simple overview, and we're going to be revisiting it again because we haven't also talked about zones. So content databases, or the database for the web application and the site collection and all the sites. So 300 per web application, so 300 databases maximum can go for one web application. So if you create a web application of an intranet for this campus, Casaloma campus, you already know that there are 4,000 users here, so you could go ahead and create more databases, program wise, department wise, event wise, it's up to you. The more databases you can create, the better separation of hardware resources, and it will be much better organized. So 200 GB per content database to ensure system performance. You should have at least this much space there, and this much big content database can go. We're going to create a database today for this web application separately, or at least assign it separately, so all the user data like Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, or any documents they are adding to the SharePoint site, those documents will be added to this database. So all these things, site collections per web application, there could be 500,000 site collections per web application. This is for huge network. And form, when you create a form, it does allow you huge amount of scalability features. Right now, let's go and do a basic task of creating a web application, which is the top level. This is the first thing we need to create when we are going ahead and creating our George Brown intranet. So creating a web application, choose an authentication method. We will be choosing authentication method between claims-based and classic mode. Also configure an IaaS website and application pool. We're going to be trying to see what port is added there. We're going to add our own port. Then host header just means that you want to independently make that URL available. So we're gonna make available intranet.carve, or we're just gonna make up our own intranet.georgebrown or GB intranet dot our domain name, right? Whatever is our domain name. You're gonna see some other features as well, which will be, of course, a bit tricky for us at first time. So there's a path as well that we need to show. So configure the database name and service application. This creating the first web application, there's a wizard with huge amount of options. So that's why I'm just putting some more slides here, and we're gonna, in the end, we will have to configure a DNS A record for that as well. So let's create our web application right now. This is the first step in creation of our George Brown intranet. Inside, after the web application, we're going to be creating site collections. So major steps are here. This is what we're about to do. Let's create a web application. It's going to be a long wizard, not very long. Check if new database was created for it. Check if new IaaS site was created for it. And then create a host record in DNS. Anyone knows what's a host record in DNS? Yeah. And anyone created ever an a host record? No? Yes? Maybe?
I think we went in one of our classes, we did a record and
okay.
quadruple A record.
Oh, okay, for V6.
Very briefly.
For exchange class? Or
No, sir.
okay. Cool. So yeah, now I'm going to be explaining a bit more about the DNS and why we're creating a host record. But the main thing is, in production environment, when you're at the job, these are the major steps you have to take to create your company site, or in our case now we're creating a George Brown intranet. So I'm going to go for, let's create a web application. Everyone's center administration site is up and running? Yes. Thank you for the answer. Oh, okay. So now we need to go where? On these screenshots we have to go, and then I'm going to do that too as well. So that's why I have the luxury of a second screen here as well, so I could show you all, and I don't want to miss any smaller step. That's where we really, okay, so we're gonna go for application management, then we go for web applications and manage web applications, and there we're gonna be going for the new web application, which will be the start of the creation of intranet for our campus. We can just take this as a scenario. Okay, so I'm just gonna go back now, and on server 2 where we have done all the other things, smaller things. Now let's go for that. So this is the site that was created when we had finished the installation of form, but we're gonna go back to the web applications management or the central administration again. Everyone on this page? Okay. So you're going there? Ouch. Yeah, so just for those who just joined, so if you go to start, all programs, and then go to SharePoint 2010, let me put the magnifying glass here. Okay, so start, all programs. So if you have installed even one SharePoint server, it's okay, it will open and you can do everything what we are doing today. You do not need 2 SharePoint servers to make this happen, but that was a professional approach to do that. That's why we went for that, and it's also the exam objective, how to create a form. Okay, so I'm just going for start and then all programs, and you don't have to do anything extra. If you have installed one SharePoint 2010, this is going to work. Well, should. So SharePoint 2010 and then central administration. If you click that, this site should open, right? Okay, so I'm gonna just go for application management. And well, I could have gone from here as well, right? I'm showing there. So manage web applications. So either way you can go. Everyone on this page? Okay. So I'm just gonna go to new, and let's create our new web application here. Okay, there are many things to consider here, but we're gonna go easy and slow, just to make sure we know what we're doing. So first of all, authentication, it's asking for claims-based authentication as well as classic mode authentication, which is the Windows Active Directory authentication. Claims-based is more like if you are having collaboration with across the company where there are some other authentication methods are also used. We're going to be using in future lessons or try to at least use this claims-based later, but it is more sophisticated authentication where more information is used to authenticate you to another company's site where your Active Directory account is not present. So it's more openly used but more secure as well. But this is Active Directory, so definitely we are already okay. So I'm just going to keep it to classic mode because we have just our Active Directory environment and the users in Active Directory will be using that. So first of all, yes, classic mode. Second thing is that it's saying that create a new IIS website, which is Internet Information Services. We already know what IIS is, and if I can go back again, it's start and administrative tools, and this is where the IIS manager or Internet Information Services Manager is, and this is used for application developers, web developers. They create applications through this. Check it. Yeah.
What's the difference between the one above and that one?
Just the version. There's the older one, 6.0, and this is the new one. Yeah. So well, this is just so we already know that SharePoint is going to create a site inside IIS. IIS is not that user friendly as SharePoint is, but you can just directly work in that too, and once you get used to it, it's pretty user friendly itself as well. But when it comes to SharePoint, yes, it's using totally IIS for the website structure. So what we are doing here is create a new IIS website, yes, but we're going to give it a separate understandable name here. So I'm just going for GB Intranet or George Brown Intranet. We can just give this name. We can use the given port here since I created all the screenshots, and we're good with the port. No, we're not good with the port. So GB Intranet, we're just putting the name of the site here. Why? Later, if there's a problem, you could go directly to the IIS a site, IIS manager, you're gonna open that. You can in future open that and actually check and trace where is my site created, and we're gonna be confirming that after creating this site. Second thing, we're gonna just give it port 80. So what will happen is that when we open that URL, we don't have to actually mention the port, or the port must not be an extra step to be for the users to connect to this website, right? Port 80 by default will be taken, and when you just put the URL, it's just going to connect. Third thing here is host header. So this is to give a unique URL to this website. So we can, whatever we mention here as a URL, this is the URL we will be. So if I put here GB intranet, I put the host header here as GB intranet. This means that independently, okay, this is not the only thing. Let me just show you the full thing. What is our domain name? I think everyone has exactly the same domain name, which is shptdomain.local, right? If you have a different one, it's okay. The main thing is you have to put that domain name here around, which means suppose our server name is what? server1.shptdomain.local, server2.shptdomain.local is the FQDN, right? Fully qualified domain name, or a full name where a server name and a domain name is mentioned. Here exactly we're going to be doing that. We're going to put a GB intranet, which is a website that's going to be opening independently when we put our shptdomain.local address here. The only purpose of host header is that you can independently with this exact URL open this website which we are about to create from anywhere inside the domain. If we do not put that, then it will have to be the server name itself, which is in my case it's server 2 or server 3. But when we put the host header, it's going to give it a unique address to reach or open this website, right? But the only extra step we have to take, we have to tell our Mr. DNS as well. Hey Mr. DNS, we have another link, we have another object here, we have another destination here that's going to be added to your DNS, so name resolution could work. And if anyone puts this name there in the browser, you, Mr. DNS, is going to resolve that name as well. In DNS, you have to give two things: the name of the destination or the machine or the site and the IP address. In DNS, we have to give two things: the name and the IP address. So suppose we give the name of this website as like this. Can anyone guess what should be the IP address to go with it? So it could be independently, this website could be independently opened from throughout the, this environment. We have to give an IP address to this website as well if we want this website to be independently opening with whatever name we want to give now. So any resource over the network you can access if it has an IP address, right? So wherever we are creating this site now, the IP address of that machine will be used. So which IP address we are talking about? The local server. What is the IP address of your local server where you're creating this web application? What is the IP address of this server? Anyone knows the IP address of your server where you're creating this web application? If you do IP config, you would know, right? It's 192.168.100.2 exactly. So this website will be accessed if we put the DNS information as well for this. So in DNS there should be this name given and the IP address of this server where this website is being created. Well, I'm going to do that anyway, so you would know. So what we have done till now, we have given a name called SharePoint-GB intranet. We have given a port 80. Then host header is this, which is an individual. So it has created a full path with this exact name which we gave here. GB intranet.shpd domain.local 80. This is the folder it created. So, and then there's a security configuration here. So we're gonna keep it to NTLM, so it could just openly communicate with each other. And Kerberos, if we can configure that, we have to do some extra steps. Right now we're gonna keep it to default. Allow anonymous. So is that a good idea that we could keep it to allow anonymous traffic? Or if I put it to yes, what will happen? If I put this anonymous traffic to yes, what will happen? Anyone can guess this? Allow anonymous means, what am I doing right now?
You're not going to need credentials?
Yeah, I'm not gonna need the credentials, exactly. And this means anyone with the URL is logging in and making changes, or at least adding his or her document, maybe with the intention of hacking. Maybe there are some scripts or codes that if you put it inside the SharePoint and it uploads, okay, there you go, your SharePoint is gone, or it's showing some other information that's not supposed to be shown. So no, if I keep it no, this means that Active Directory created users will only be using this or accessing this, right? Okay, and SSL, anyone knows what's SSL? Secure Sockets Layer, and the purpose is to? How? By encrypt, exactly. By encryption and authentication. Two things SSL does. The port is 443, and two things it does is encrypt your data, as well as it adds, you can add both or anyone, either encrypt or authenticate, or both encrypt and authenticate the data, right? So if SharePoint, our CEO of the company is using SharePoint, definitely we would go for that. We would try to go for that. SSL, but we have to have a certificate services. We can go to GoDaddy and download that certificate services. I think everyone knows that because nobody laughed. Okay. What are you saying, GoDaddy? What's GoDaddy? What kind of name is that? Well, they're earning millions. .com, actually. GoDaddy.com. So, public URL. I would just keep it like that. Zone, we will be talking about that later as well when we're trying to make a bigger design. I'll keep it to default for now. So URL would be still this, and if I go further down, I haven't made any changes other than just giving the host header, changing the port, and changing these three areas I've changed till now. Let's go ahead and application pool would also create a new application pool. This means some hardware resources will be reserved for this web application, which is okay. Managed accounts, we talked about in the start of the class that managed accounts are very important, crucial, and we should have a separate dedicated account to act as a managed account, because this account manages the password change automatically. In our case, we are just keeping it simple right now. In production environment, I would never use the administrator for that. But here, I don't want to create further 3 or 4 accounts. Already, it seems like a bit complicated. Okay, now it says that, hey, do you want to create a database? So of course, without database, we cannot have a web application. It has to have a database. So it's giving this huge alphanumeric number here. I don't want that. So we're gonna give it a meaningful name here. It's going to create a new database, and we're going to give that a meaningful name to that database, which will be, of course, just to trace back this database is hosting which data. So I'm just gonna keep it GB intranet. So I'm just changing the end part of that newly created database. This database will be created now for this web application, and GB intranet, I'm just changed from that weird long alphanumeric address to this GB intranet, right? And authentication for this database, yes, Windows based authentication. Anyone knows what is failover database server option here?
Something happens, that's the code to the database.
So yeah, if we have two databases for this same thing, it could fail over to the other one if the first one crashes, goes down, having some issues. So we don't have it for now. And then there's search server. Search service is provided by SharePoint Server Search, which is a service already available. So there are those service. So you're creating that this intranet web application for your campus. These set of service applications will be there that you can use in the web application. These are the basic services that help us run the SharePoint. And there's that security, then there's that Excel services that we can integrate, business data services that we can integrate, and we're going to be later integrating those as well and testing them. And also just give some enumeration, and then Visio graphics services you can integrate, web analytics to check what's going on, and it will analyze all the parts of the your web application. And Microsoft Word could be integrated as well. So, well, these are the basic services that, of course, we always require, but later we're going to be playing with these as well once we try to integrate them. Okay, so enable customer experience improvement. No, we don't want to improve this product, so we'll just keep it no. Just kidding. We should try to help improve that, right? So, still no here. Okay, because we're not connected anyway. So press OK, and the only changes I made were in the database and up here in the IIS website, port, and host header. So the 4 areas I only changed, the rest I kept as default. Press OK. It's creating a website in the IIS manager. It's creating a database in a new database in our SQL server. So it's going to take its time. And that's the first part. I mean, now we need to create a site collection, but that's then it, and we will have our working intranet that we can start messing around with or start playing with. But if we go and we understand which option we chose and why we did not change some of the options, if we understand each step, that's the goal that we are achieving here. It's already being recorded, and please try to have as many screenshots of this lab as possible. The more screenshots you show, the more it's a good asset for you when you start looking for a job. You will have all the steps in a screenshot, so it will be good for you before interview. Just go through these screenshots and you would know right away if you're expecting any questions. Okay, so application created, it says here, and we can just press OK. If it's also saying if you want to create a website, we can create that. And there's that forms based authentication. So InfoPath forms is we're going to be creating those as well, adding those forms to work with, as well as form based authentication will be added as well. But right now it's just one basic web application created. Press OK. So in my case now it is showing 4th application. So if we want to know where is it created, so where do we go? So if you're in the central administration right now, and you go to under the application management, you go to manage web applications, this 3rd one, in your case it should be 3rd one, in my case it's the 4th one. So this is the 3rd web application that has been created, but we still have to do some more configuration. main thing is not next finish. Main thing is, do we understand what we are doing and why we are doing that? Okay. In my case, it is finished. Is it finished for everyone? Yep. Okay. Cool. Hey, computers are fast today. What's wrong with them? I mean, what's right with them? So that's good. That's good. So we need to confirm if the database was created. We need to confirm if inside the IIS manager a separate website was created or not. So I'm going to go on this same server to first check the database. You remember that we named the database GB intranet as well, right? So it should be a separate database created for this web application. So I'm just going to go to start on the same server. Maybe you did not install the database on the same server as I have done. So I'm on server 2 and we also have server 3 here, right? I think we installed SQL Server on server 3. Everyone did that, right? Wherever you install SQL Server, you need to go to that server. In a farm, we have 2 server farm, so SQL Server may not be on the same server where we actually created that, from where we actually created that web application. So I'm just going to go to server 03 for that, and I'm going to server 3 and clicking start all programs. There's that SQL Server installed on server 3, and if I expand this folder here, oops, not this one, R2. So Microsoft SQL Server 2008 R2, and I want to just look inside SQL Server to see if that new database was created for my new web application. So SQL Server Management Studio, I'm just gonna click there. Everyone reach the database? Yes? Okay. So SQL Server Management Studio, just gonna open that. And if you do not see your computer name, you can put the name of that computer which has the SQL Server installed, right? If you already see that, just click connect. All right, in my case it's already showing. If it's not showing, it's the computer name only of that server where you have installed the SQL Server. So click connect. I would want to check if the database was created. So I'm just going to expand this databases folder. And if I go way down, and there it is, GB intranet. So is it showing for everyone? Okay, cool. Yep. Everyone on that corner of the earth as well? Okay, cool. Because it's a huge class, so could be North Pole, South Pole, or whatever. Anyway, so GB intranet is created here. I'm just going to visit the IIS manager as well. So I'm just going to close this because the database is there, right? Now, either server 2 or server 3, you can go down to the start, and then go to administrative tools, and then go to IIS manager. So there should be a separate website for that as well. So if I click the IIS manager and expand this IIS manager, and there you go, there it is, SharePoint GB intranet. Also IIS website has separately been created. We must know all these places where different components have been created in different areas or roles, one in SQL Server, one in IIS manager. And if it is selected like this, and if I go way to the right side, there is that bindings that it is showing as well. If I click that binding, it is just showing that yes, this URL has been this binding has been done with the port 80 for this URL. Well, this is some of the information that we should keep in mind, that these areas are where we should do the confirmation. Okay, I'm closing this. The final step to make sure that web application should be working fine is to create a host record in DNS manager, DNS server. So I'm just going to go to the DNS server and here start. No, where's the DNS? Is it on server 2 or server 3? Server 1, exactly. So on the domain controller, the DNS server will be there, right? So server 1, and I'm just gonna go start administrative tools and DNS. So this is the DNS manager on the domain controller. Expand that. Forward lookup zone is there. Forward lookup zone resolves host names to IP address. Reverse lookup zone here resolves IP address to host names. Just, you know, some basic information. Forward lookup zone is there, and there is that domain name here. All I need to do is I need to create an A record. A record just means the name and IP address of a server or any reachable destination. So DNS server, I'm just here inside the you know, that domain name. I expanded forward lookup zone, then I went to domain name, right? So if I right click this domain name, shptdomain.local, right click and go for a host record. So if there's IPv4, it's called a host record or a record. If it's IPv version 6, it is AA. Right? So we're just gonna go for v4, IPv4, and this is the record, or this is the window that opens, and all we need to do here is give a name and IP. Anyone knows what name are we putting here? Sorry? Exactly. GB intranet. Shall I put the whole FPDN here? Why? It's already populated below. Exactly. GB intranet dot shptdomain dot local. And what happened to David's PC? Oh, sorry. David? Something happened? Oh. Okay. So I need to give an IP address to this resource, and the IP address would be where I installed the web application. So anyone knows what's the IP address for you? 100.2, of course. So this is already here also showing. In my case, it's shpd-bem01, which is your server 2 actually. So but the IP address here is, I think in your case it's 100.2, or in my case it's 200.2, right? So I'm just gonna go for 192.168. So if you have 100 subnet here, go for that. I have 200. Do not copy me. You should just go for your IP address scheme. So what I'm telling DNS, hey Mr. DNS, if anyone puts this address in the URL in the browser, gbintranet.shptdomain.local, and I have already told you the IP address, so let that person open, you know, go to that server, this server, and open this web application. This is what I'm telling the DNS, and it's going to do that because now it has the information that, oh, this resource is available on this IP address, right? Okay, so I'll just click add host, and it should say successfully, which it did. So press OK, done. So now I have a GB intranet host A record with the same IP as the IP of our second or third SharePoint server. So let's go ahead because okay, I don't want to miss anything, so I'm just going for the so creating site collections, blah blah blah, ManagedPath. Yeah, there's some more important things here, but first, does it work? You tried? Okay, So if I go back to my SharePoint server now, already I see that okay, everyone on this, if you go back to your SharePoint server, if you're in the center administration site and you go to manage web applications here under the application management, you should see all your web applications, and you see your newly created web application, which is this. This means this path, when you type in your browser, it should open that web application, or does it open that web application? In our case, of course, it's not difficult to remember. gbintranet.shpd-domain.local. If I open my browser, if I just put it there, and everyone is seeing this screen, or does it actually opens the site? Oh, it's asking for login credentials. Okay, so you put your administrator credentials. So after credentials, what happens? Because we still need to configure a little more. We need to configure the managed paths, which will be the site collection. So after web application, we have to create site collection. So let me show you on my first computer on the teacher's machine this. So it's creating site collections. So first we have created a web application, but we need to still create a site collection after that. So guys, anyone is able to see a working site, or is it giving any errors, or is it just opening? Sorry? Oh, issues for this site, or with
just creating the application.
web application now? Okay, cool. Anyone else? Blank site. Yeah, because we didn't put anything there. Is it a blank site for everyone? Okay. Okay. So now we need to. So that's why I put that creating site collections here and manage path. These are two things that we should know now. Web application has been created. We have to create now a site collection, and we have to do it. This is the second step now. So site collections are groups of websites that share the same owner administration settings. A top level site is always created when you create a site collection. So we need a top level site to give it some infrastructure, right? So three prerequisites are web application, quota template, and managed path. We need to complete those prerequisites there. So if you see the diagram there, if you see this diagram here, a web application. Oh, now I'm actually, guys, I need to show it here actually because for the video recording it will be just okay. I am opening it here now. Oops, that's quite a different set of screenshots. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so it looks like this, right? Blank site. So, well, it should have looked mine as well, but it's just puked something. Okay, so we're going to create a site collection, but I just wanted to show you that There are some prereqs to that. We're going to be creating a site collection, but we're going to be understanding one more feature of that, which is very interesting. Yeah, there it is. Creating site collection. So the prerequisites to create a site collection. So right now you cannot see any template opening. It's a blank page opening. We are not expecting a working page right now. We're expecting the next steps to be done, which are to, once we install web application, now we're going to be installing the site collection, and then it's going to be asking, hey, which template are you trying to open here? And then we're going to say team collaboration or conferencing template. Then it's going to show us the site, right? So but after creating web application, next step is creating site collections. But in order to create a site collection, we need to fulfill these prerequisites: web application, Quora template, ManagedPath, right? Web application, Quora template, ManagedPath. So how do we do that? What are managed paths? And we're going to do that now and understand. But main thing is, do you suppose there's a website called cnn.com? No, it's not suppose. There is. So you have cnn.com / Japan / Tokyo. This means the site is, you can have sub-sites to that. / Japan should take you to the whole country information. / Japan / Tokyo should take you to the specific Tokyo related information. That means you're going to a sub-site there. So ManagedPath has two types, and when we are creating a site collection, there are two ways we can create a site collection. One is explicit, second is wildcard. In simple words, explicit would just mean that when you open that site, that's it. That's the only site you're looking at. cnn.com. It opens. Okay, I want to go to Japan. Oh, that's it? What? Okay, that's just one page? Or that's the only site? There are no sub-sites you can create with that, right? So that's explicit. Then there is wildcard, where you can create all the sub-sites and keep going with that, tree of sites, which has started from, suppose, cnn.com / this / that / this. All sub-sites you keep on creating. So explicit just means that you're creating just one site. It's a dead end. That's it, and you cannot further create sub-sites to that. That's it. Maybe, and there are some scenarios where you can use that. You don't want any other, junior admins you're the senior admin, and you don't want any junior admin to be experimenting with your so carefully, and you put so many hours in creating that. So you're creating an explicit site collection. But then there is wildcard as well. So explicit managed paths allow for a single site collection to be created. For example, we can create a single site collection under intranet. That's it. So wildcard managed paths are designed to allow child URLs that are site collections and allow for unlimited site collections. Okay, so in simple words, explicit means just one site without possibility of any other subsites, and wildcard just means that you can keep on creating subsites. Simple words, right? That's one of the prerequisites for creating a site collection that we have to take care of, right? Quora templates. Anyone knows what's Quora? It is to sorry? Allowance.
You only get a certain amount of wire and that's it.
Exactly. So in the context of SharePoint, what would be the quota? Where would you put the limits on? Yeah.
Space in the database.
Exactly. So exactly, we're dedicating one database for this website. You need to put the quotas there. maybe you're creating sub-sites which are for different departments, for different programs. Each program may have, okay, maybe it's a huge campus, and each program may include like 10,000 users, another program having 5,000 users. Each program, when you create a sub-site for a program and you're expecting that much input from this amount of users, you might go for separate database for each sub-site. Right now what we have, if we create a one site collection and create 10 sub-sites, we have just one database where it's filling up everything. Later we can create a sub-site and dedicate a database for that too. So we could have huge amount of input, and it should not be at the cost of performance, right? So right now what I'm doing here is ManagedPath. Yes, we're going to configure that. We're going to check both explicit and wildcard. And then there is a Coda template we may or may not configure, but it's not like, they say it's prerequisites, but it's not compulsory. We're going to see that where it is, what it offers. At least we get to know that. And web application, we already did that. We already installed the web application. The site is ready. Now the internal infrastructure needs to be configured. So I'm just going to create a site collection. Inside, when I'm creating a site collection, I'm going to tell it, hey, I'm creating 2 more sites. One will be explicit, a dead end site, like just one site. Second will be wildcard site that will keep on having sub-sites after sub-sites, just to know that oh, explicit is this, that's how you configure it, and just to know, oh, this is wildcard, and that's how we configure it, right? Okay. ManagedPath, we know that, okay, this is to just create types of sites. So ManagedPath, site collections as known as SP sites are made up of sites as known as SP webs. There are, in Microsoft terminology, in Microsoft documentation, you will see this SP sites wording. This means here just site collections, and SP webs wording you will see in the TechNet articles and others when they are explaining something. So it will be just the subsites of those site collections. This is just for knowledge here.
Are we supposed to be looking at this, or are you looking at a different screen?
Right now, this is the same screen. Yeah.
I just saw you move the mouse, but I'm not supposed to move it, so I wasn't sure if you were aware that was a different output.
Thank you for this, and everyone else did not tell me, and I just kept on going. Okay, that was awkward. Guys, tell me. Sorry, it was my mistake, my bad. So 40 Timbits next time. From who? Okay, moi. God, all this video. But anyway, thank God we didn't do anything. We were just talking about that, and it was on the correct screen for some reason. Kinda, it was on ManagedPath. So, okay. So now when I'm explaining, I'm gonna keep on revolving the mouse. I'm gonna say that, hey, I'm revolving the mouse, can you see that? No, I'm just gonna check that. But thank you for pointing that out, sorry for that. I forgot to just change the monitor as well. Okay, so yeah, sites can, so ManagedPath, explicit and wildcard. Explicit means dead end, one site only. Wildcard means, yeah, thank God. Okay. Okay, so defining our site collection, then ManagedPath. This is the diagram now. Explicit, we're gonna call it main, and then there is that wildcard projects. We're gonna call it projects, and then we're gonna create subsites called equipment, and then another subsite called, we can just call it anything, with the program names or department names, and we can get started. So this is what I already created, but what we created was GB intranet. So we're going to be going for creating managed paths first, and then the next step would be to create a site collection on the basis of managed path. So if I go back to the prerequisites, this is it. Web application should be there. So we installed that. Second, Coda template should be there. It says prerequisite, but it's not compulsory. We're gonna just see that. ManagedPath should be there, which we are about to do. After that, we're gonna create the site collection, and that's going to give us one working intranet for George Brown. So these one of the two I'm just going to start now. Web application is done, Coda template and ManagedPath are remaining. So let's go for ManagedPath. We understand now ManagedPath, everyone? So ManagedPath is that you can create either an explicit site or a wildcard site. So true or false? Wildcard site is a dead end and you cannot create subsites out of that.
False.
Okay. There's two guys saying false. Anyone else from South Pole? This side, South Pole. North Pole seem to be active. Yeah, so true or false? The explicit site, ManagedPath or explicit site means that you can create a lot of subsites. True or false? Okay, North Pole wins. South Pole is too south. Okay. Okay, again, guys, here I'm just gonna ask now on the left side of my row. So explicit means that there will be one site only, and wildcard means that there can be a site with, subsites created to that, right? So true or false? Explicit means that there will be a lot of subsites. Anyone else who wants to take part in the quiz? Okay. There's like, I'm too busy, can you ask someone else? Okay. So, well, these monitor screens are too high, or I could just stand. But anyway, since there's a video going on here, I mean, you'll be entertained by that as well. And let's go ahead and try to do that. So this is what we're about to do now. I'm going to create first an explicit site by the name of main, and then I'm going to create a wildcard site by the name of project. But for that to create, I need to configure the managed paths. So this topic took a long time because I repeated that again. Okay, so I'm just going to go back now to my server where I was having this site problem here. But anyway, I'm just gonna go for that server and go where? To this central administration site, and then go where? Manage web applications. So let's go to manage web applications. Everyone there? Okay, so if you click this GB intranet, all the options which were grayed out will be enabled. So here, when you click GB intranet, there is that managed paths. This is a prerequisite to creating a site collection. If we don't configure this or come here, it's not gonna work. So at least we have to define something here. Actually, this is just for extra features. It's going to work even if we don't define them. So yeah, just corrected that. So let's click this manage paths. What it shows is that either you want to offer explicit site, or either you want to mention here explicit managed path or wildcard managed path. So explicit managed card would not let you go ahead and create subsites, right? So I'm going to just put here the name called one site. If I put here a name called one site, and if in the drop down I make it explicit inclusion, so this means that and click here check. Okay, I'm still having some issues here which I need to resolve, but anyway, this should be checked actually later. what we need to do is one site I'm going to create, which is kind of a dead end. We cannot create subsites of that, so I'm just putting it as explicit inclusion and clicking add path. Once add path is there, it should appear here one by the name of one site and explicit inclusion. We're gonna see it later where it actually shows up and makes a difference. Right now we have to just configure this, so this is something compulsory. Then second, I'm just going to add projects, and projects I'll just it's already on wildcard inclusion. So this means once I create this site collection, it will let me create lots of subsites as well. In most cases, I mean, everyone would be using this, right? Add path here, wildcard inclusion is already selected, projects is the name, you can just put any other name, add path, and now there's that projects with the name wildcard inclusion, one site with the name explicit inclusion, right? Now let's see, where do we go and use this? Okay, let's press OK. We just did these two things. Everyone did that? Yes. Okay, thank you. Well, there's a video already. So, okay, I'm pressing OK now. And so, now let's create a site collection. So, the only thing we needed to do was go to that same web web application and just tell it that we're going to be expanding the site, or we're going to have a single site. So let's just go to center administration. Oh, you want to complete? Yes. Center administration again, and now the second step is create a site collection, right? So if we go and click that, create a site collection. So again, center administration, and then create a site collection under the application management. So create a site collection here. So it already is selecting this GB intranet the domain name, but we can change it. Suppose you want to create a site collection for any other web application, we can change web application. If I click change, it's going to ask, hey, which other web application you want to change? But I'm not going to change anything here, just showing you the option here. So I'm just going to create that site called one site. I'm just going to name it one site. This is just one site without any extra subsite. Okay, just the purpose of that I'm just showing right now. So this is a site that's going to be just one single site. So if I click this drop down, now those managed paths are showing here as an extra, this site subsite showing. They're showing like this. So if I already know that one site is having that explicit feature turned on for that. This means this is just a dead end. I mean, like if you want to create an extra site, you cannot do that. This is it. This is the only site you're gonna get. And then it's asking, okay, what do you want? Which template do you want? Before we tried the team site template, we can just go for any other template here. Meetings, enterprise. So we can just go for enterprise and document center. We may not want to expand this. It could be anything actually, right? So I'm just gonna go for enterprise and document center here. Now it's asking one more thing. So till now, one site, and we selected that. Enterprise template is this. Document center, you can select anything actually. But it's going to ask, hey, do you have a primary site collection administrator and secondary site collection administrator? We have to provide that. Okay, if I go down here, quotas as well, we can just put quotas here. It's not a personal site, it's an enterprise site. So, but we haven't created any quota templates here, but we can, and we will try to visit that area now. So I'm just going to quickly put those two users, which we put in the viewers group. Actually, that's not going to be a good idea. Those have one user has a viewer permission, and the second user has, I think, members permission. So now it's asking, can you put two users, define two users who are going to have a primary site collection administrator rights and secondary site collection administrator rights. Let's just put them, later we're gonna just remove them from there instead of creating new ones. GB user 01, primary site collection administrator, and check name. And then second one is GB user 02 and check name. Okay, so now our site collection explicit one is done. Press OK. Okay, it's processing. So, well, there was so much to do, so I was concentrating on creating the video so you could follow it throughout the week, right? But after this, we can try to see what's the issue coming. Okay, anyone whose process is completed like this? Or is it still processing? Processing? Completed, okay, cool. Anyone else who has completed this? Okay. Still going on? Yeah, it takes a little time. Okay, so top level site successfully created, and this is the link for one site. When I try to open this one site inside the site collection, it's going to ask the credentials. We need to give the credentials of the users which we added, GB user 01, GB 002. So if this link is showing now, I'll just right click and open a new tab. I want to see if it's working or not. So this is here, so it should be opening somewhere here. Okay, let me just open that again. Oh, seriously? Okay, everything I have is giving me this. So I think I have some services issue here, I guess. Nope. Not every time it's services. An application error occurred on the server. The current system custom error settings for this application. Oh, custom error settings for this application prevent the details of the application error from being viewed. See, this is the beauty of the live demo. Well, I should not call it beauty. To enable the details of this specific error message to be viewable on the local server machine, please create a custom errors tag. Seriously? Okay, so is it open with credentials to anyone? No, it's still opening. Blank page. Oh, it did ask for credentials?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Anyone else with the... It's still opening or... Blank page. Okay. Blank page? Runtime, same like this? Or kind of like this, right? Ouch! Okay, it should not be blank page. We did give a template to that. Okay, so one more thing, guys. Remember those two users? They were added to the groups called. So let me just take you there. Runtime error and application error occurred on the server. Thank God I had those successful screenshots as well. So that's something that we can tackle. Okay, here's site collection, web application collection. Okay, guys. Still, since you are, I need to still show the creation process and what areas to configure. Then I'm gonna just check this error as well. So I just need to create now a site collection with the second option, the wildcard option. I just wanted to show you that how it's going to let you create subsites as well. So I'm just going to go and create a second site collection here, right? So if I go and create second site collection, let's go there and create one. So center administration, under application management, go to again create site collection, just to check the second option. Now I'm just putting the projects option there, project detail, and I'm just putting here at wildcard site collection. So I just wanted to show how it's going to let us create new or subsites. So if we go down and put this ManagedPath now, first thing, the one site is gone. So once you use up the explicit site option, the one site will not show here again. Second thing, we have created the projects ManagedPath, which was with the wildcard option selected, right? So select this. Once you select this, so it did not happen in the explicit one, but it is happening here, that it's letting us create another subsite to it right now. So we can just create here, first project of our college could be the online videos. Well, this is a long name, I should have put it smaller name, but anyway, so GB intranet projects and online videos, it's letting me create first subsite here, and I could go for any of these template for this. So let's go for document workspace. So here I could just upload that those videos as well. So extra option is appearing here, document workspace is selected here, and if we keep going down, again the primary site collection administrator. I just wanted to check if it would let me go without mentioning those administrators. So if I just select OK, now it's saying no, you must specify a value for this required field. So I have to define primary site collection administrator here for this site collection, right? So if I just go for administrator account instead, with which I'm logged in, and check name, it's detecting that. Does it really require a secondary site collection administrator as well? So let's check it. If I press OK, either it will start creating this site collection or it will still give me an error. So press OK. Yeah, it's creating. At least primary administrator should be defined. Secondary is not a must, right? Okay, this wildcard version of the site collection is also created, and I'm still getting errors for, and I understand. Okay, there's one thing, guys. If it is created for you, can you try this as well and try to know if it's showing blank or it's okay? While I think I have an idea why it's coming, why the errors are coming. If I go and go to the second server and go to my SQL server inside that, there the SQL server agent is not working. Hello. Okay, so SQL server agent is not started here. If I start this, are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Can you also try? You also had the runtime error? You could try the SQL server. I think the agent was not started. And if I check this GB intranet database, well, it's still loading. But if that service is started and if I go back, also I need to check on the second server, which is actually the SQL server and the form host, the services here on this server, the second server. If I go to startup type and go way down, yeah, everything is okay. So if I go to the top just to check if the SQL Server agent is working or not. And if I go here, does it really work? Well, okay, SQL Server was not working, but still that's not the case here. The current custom, I have to just figure that out as well. Well, you know, Google Sensei can help me. Okay, and I'm gonna quickly remove this guy from here, although it has nothing to do with the errors. And I'm going to check the IIS manager as well. So there's that GB intranet not showing on the second server. Refresh sites, there it is. And I'm just doing a quick troubleshooting, trying to do, otherwise, you know, okay, I could restart the whole thing and just to make sure. So I'll check first the database if it is showing any sign of civilization. Second thing, I'll just try to restart the SharePoint IS, you know, that website GB intranet. Okay, if I try to restart, okay, there you go. It's restarting now. Okay. An application error occurred on the server. The current custom error settings for this application prevent the details of the application error from being viewed. Oh yeah, I have to still fix the current custom error settings. I've done it. Yeah. So is CBD nuggets or is it a plural site or? Okay, so well, the procedures are there. Anyone was able to you know, open the online videos, the second one, the wildcard one? Anyone tried that? No? Oh, it's opening the blank site, right? So it's a blank site on server 1 and 2. Oh, on server 1 it works with the template that was supposed to be shown, it's showing that. On server 2 it's not. Okay. Okay guys, one more thing here. If I take this away, this link, okay, where is it? Here. If I copy it here and go to server 2 or server 3 and open it in another browser, for me it's that error is still following me and I have to resolve that. But if I go for domain controller browser and put that same link there, and if I open it and try to add it to the trusted sites, yeah, it's the same runtime. If it's coming runtime, I have to really fix my environment, but I have screenshots that did everything successfully. If I can show you here, thank God I have approved at least these steps, exact steps I took. And this is the site collection I was creating, and you can see projects. Instead of main, it was one site. So when it opens after that with the team site or any other, I've added processing, intranet, and then it asks for the credentials, and yeah, it is the blank site for showing here. And if I go for other site, this intranet main, so first it shows the blank site, then it still loads and shows that team site properly. So we have to work on our environments, especially I have to work on, then I created a wildcard here with those GB user 01 and 2, and this was the link for that projects, and that is it was processing. It created this link. Okay, I did not show that. I should have checked that as well. It should show also the template, but it did work for your on server 1. It opened the template correctly. For explicit or wildcard, both. It's on server 1 is just showing perfectly. Server 1, not server 2. That's embarrassing. Now I have to make my site work. Well, first environment worked perfectly. Second environment, I should have a test environment separate. Okay guys, the procedure that we went through, I have an error in my environment. Same procedure you went through, it's opening the sites correctly. Which means what? Which means the procedure is okay. The steps are okay, what we're following, because we're following together. So there are some different results. I have to just figure out the errors in my environment. Not right now, because okay, it's already 10:50. But I wanted to show some extra features here, which is one is quotas and locks. You can lock your website from, so you cannot let anyone make any changes. So if you go to site collections, configure quotas and locks, just to check another feature, I'm going back to my server here and to the top level site, application management. If we go to application management, there is that configure quotas and locks. So definitely, as the name says, you want to configure quotas and locks. This is the web application that was created when we installed the first form. I don't want to touch this one, but I want to change my other site, online videos, or one site which was the explicit one. If I select this one and press OK, now it is at not locked. This means we can use it, right? But I can prevent it, adding content prevented and additional log information. I can put an additional log information just to warn the user that this site has been, so I could just put any professional warning there, like, hey, stop watching movies and get a life. Okay, sorry. So no, that was just kidding. So don't put that professional in your production environment. So this is just for blocking the site or adding content prevented because company policy or policy, not policy. Or then read-only blocks additions, updates, and deletions. You cannot delete anything from there, update anything, blocks. While if you block adding content, you can still delete the content, right? And then there is no access, just forget it, right? The whole thing is gone. So like, and you can still put that additional lock information there. So one is lock. Second is quota information. So you can put the quotas there, limit site storage in megabytes, right? So you could just put here, if I put there 2000 megabyte, how many gigs is that? 2000 megabytes is how many GB? 3 GB, right? Okay, 2 GB. So and send email warning at when you reach 1500 megabytes. When you reach that, send an email warning. And limit maximum usage per day to 300 points. It could just start gathering points, and send email warning at 100 points. It's going to just go ahead with the points warning as you reach those quota limits, right? So we can put all those quota limits. We can see that now and we can name it as well individual quotas for this site collection only, which I selected here, just one site, that explicit one, right? So for this we can put the locks as well as quotas. So this is just one more feature that we want to show you. Then if we go back here and so let's just finish with the other stuff. There is that configure self-service site collection. What is this option here? Configure self-service site creation. So self-service site creation allows users with the use self-service site creation permission. So normal users, you're letting them create secondary sign up page or require secondary contact, so they can permission to create sites in defined URL namespaces. So you're letting normal users, non-privileged users, to create subsites. So this is off, but you want to give them that authority and they could start creating their own sites. Not a good idea, but anyway, we don't give that. But if this is a bunch of directors and CEOs or accountants, those who are writing your checks, please go ahead and give this service to them, right? Let's be political as well. Okay, anyway, so let's go ahead and try to do one last thing here, which is content databases. I'll show you this diagram just to give an idea about what is the plan here. If we go ahead and check, we have just one database we have one database only for 3 sites or 2 sites, right? How do we know that? So if I go back to my environment here, I go to central administration here and go to manage web applications. In fact, if I go further, manage content databases, manage applications, content, manage content, let me just check that. Manage applications and site collection list. View all site collections. Okay, so again, center administration, and in the site manage web applications, we can go for here, just go to application management and then go for view all site collections. The thing that I want to show you is that if you are on one site, you see the database name as WSS content GB intranet. If you go to online videos, you see the same database there. If you have created 3rd or 4th site collection, you would see the single database showing there. Suppose your online videos has gone viral, and not viral, it's not like in that same campus, all 4,000 students have now said, oh, there's an online videos, let's just upload all our videos, and they're going, now I can say the word viral, within the campus on an intranet. So you really need a new database for that kind of service you're offering, right? It is 10:58 now, and that's a lot of material to cover. So shall we go ahead? We have a second class? All right, so okay. Oh, there's a class here at 11? But you are going for the second class. Okay, so we'll just keep it to the next. Then how to create extra databases. And now if those who are here and are having issues, including me, I'll try to resolve those now. And let's call it a Tuesday. Oh, let's call it a day. Yeah.
What do you want?
Sorry?
These slides, we can find them.
Oh, so I'll send you the screenshots and the slides. So I have to send you the previous ones as well. So in one go.
Could I ask you something before we go to the next class?
Yeah, sure. So I'm just going to pause the video. In fact, stop it now.